I would like to say welcome to everyone.
Could you speak for me 1 second, please?
I would like to say welcome to everyone joining us this morning.
Yours is off. Hers is off.
Oh, hers is off. There we go.
Do you need me to start from the top?
Yes,
Let's start from the top. All right. Take two. Good morning. I'm Samantha Biddle, and I'm the chair of the Maryland Transportation Authority Board. Today is Thursday, February 26, 2026, and I hereby call this meeting of the MDTA Board to order at 9:03 a.m. This morning, we are having our meeting in person at MDTA headquarters, and in accordance with the live streaming law, this meeting is being live streamed on the MDTA Board webpage. I would like to say welcome to everyone joining us here this morning. And for the record, members Rosen and Sneed are joining us this morning via conference call. As a reminder, I ask that anyone who is in the room with us this morning to refrain from speaking unless you're presenting or answering a question to avoid background noise on the live stream. I would also like to ask the members to speak loudly and clearly so that those in the back of the room are able to hear you. Also, please be sure to state your name when motioning or seconding to help with the meeting minutes. And for those who are watching the meeting via the live stream, we've posted the materials for today's meeting on the MDTA Board webpage that you can follow along if you would like. Before starting with this morning's agenda, I would like to acknowledge Chair Thompson, Acting Secretary of the Maryland Department of Transportation, who's also joined us by phone this morning, unable to be with us in the room, but did want to join and offer a few opening comments to the board and to those who are attending. So, Chair Thompson, Secretary, turn it over to you for some remarks. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Samantha. And again, my apologies for not being able to join you all in person today. But I did want to my appreciation for your service to MDTA and MDOT. The work that you do is really critical to our ability to support our toll facilities throughout the state and ensure that we're providing safe, reliable, and efficient transportation services. So I will leave it at that and say I look forward to meeting you all in person next month, and thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much, Katie. I'm sure we'll be glad to welcome you here next month, and we will see you later today in Annapolis. All right, well, with that, we will move into our agenda for this morning, starting off with an approval item, approval of the open session meeting minutes from the January 29th, 2026 meeting.
So moved, Member Cox.
Is there a second?
Second, Member Ganjimi.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, our open session meeting minutes are approved. Apologies, thank you for those on the line. All right, agenda item number 2 this morning is approval of the closed session meeting minutes from the January 29th, 2026 meeting. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved, Member Carroll.
Thank you, Member Carroll. Is there a second?
Second, Member Cordova.
Thank you, Member Cordova. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, our first presentation and approval item this morning will be the discussion of contract awards to be presented by Mr. Davis. We have 2 awards for discussion this morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the board. I'm here to present 2 awards. The first one up is contract number MDTA 2024-04A. This is the Structures Inspection Program and Miscellaneous Engineering Services. The project seeks to award 5 contracts to engineering firms to perform routine condition inspection, reporting, design, non-destructive testing, asset management, asset health monitoring, and project management services for the MDTA. 7 proposals were received and 5 were selected for award. The first 2 contracts, AE 3143 for RK&K and Majeski & Masters, and AE 3144 for AECOM Technical Services and Wallace Montgomery, was approved at the January 29th board meeting. This item seeks approval for the remaining 3 contracts. As these contracts exceed the MDTA's delegated authority, the award of these contracts will be pending approval at the next BPW meeting. If you'll look at the project summary, you'll see that each firm is being awarded $14 million, same as the first 2 contracts, and all 3 firms have met the overall MBE goal and the 2% VSBE goal. Are there any questions?
Any questions on this contract? Before taking motion, I would just want to state for the record that Member Von Paris has recused himself from this vote. Is there a motion to approve?
This is Member Ganjemi. I'll move for approval.
Is there a second?
Member Artinger, I'll second.
Thank you, Member Artinger. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Aye.
All right, thank you. First
Pause a
contract
moment.
is approved. Let's allow Member Von Paris a moment to rejoin us before taking up the next item. Thank you. All right, please proceed. Thank you.
Will do. Okay, thank you. So our next contract up is contract number FT 3027-000R2. This is for zone cleaning and painting of various box girders on the I-95 and I-395 roadways. The work to be performed under this contract is located on the Fort McHenry Tunnel facility. The scope of work includes cleaning and painting structural steel box girders and performing miscellaneous structural repairs on various bridges on I-95 and I-395. Quickly, I'll jump ahead to the summary page. You will see that there was a 43% variance to the engineer's estimate. So I go on the cover memo to explain. The Office of Engineering and Construction completed a bid justification explaining the difference between the engineer's estimate and the low bid received. The engineer's estimate for line 4002, cleaning and painting external portions of the existing bridge, was predicated on the assumption that the contractor would use localized containment. It was learned through discussions with the lowest bidder and corroboration from industry experts that full containment of the entire width of the bridge would be necessary. The variance between the engineer's estimate and the bid amount was wholly attributed to the difference in project means and methods. The procurement officer and the Office of Engineering and Construction found this justification to be acceptable. So you will see for this work, we received 3 bids. The lowest bid at $7,488,156 from Titan Industrial Services, which was 43% over our engineer's estimate, was found to be fair and reasonable. And you can also see that their MBE goal slightly exceeded the 18%. Their MBE participation slightly exceeded the 18% by 0.26%, and they met the VSBE goal. Are there any questions?
Member Cox.
Thanks, Jeff, we had a big discussion at the Capitol meeting, and I appreciate your explanation on the difference. Thank you. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second, but just to add to that, by way of discussion, seconding what he just said, we obviously had pretty lengthy discussion because of the disparity there, but the second number was kind of close to that low bid, so that's kind of how we ended up with some level of comfort.
Yes, thank you.
So-
Thank you for bringing that up. I believe that was part of the discussion internally as well.
All right, no, thank you and appreciate the discussion at Capital Committee. Always appreciate the thorough work our members do before bringing an item to the board. We do have a motion and a second, and with that, I'll call a vote. All those in favor of approval?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, contract is approved. Thank you so much, Mr. Davis. You will be staying with us this morning for an update on all open contracts.
Yes, so this is our quarterly update for open contracts for February 2026. And if you look on your slide, the numbers are here, so I won't trip over them, but I will summarize them for the group. For memorandums of understanding, we have 29 open agreements totaling $26.6 million. A&E contracts, we have 70 totaling $797 million. Open construction contracts, we have 49 totaling $2.5 billion. For maintenance contracts, I should make a note to myself, I'm going to spell those out on the slide next time. For maintenance contracts, 36 totaling $61 million. Services contracts, we have 12 open contracts totaling $30.4 million. And IT contracts, we have 31 open contracts totaling $81.6 million. So the total is 227 contracts totaling $3.5 billion. You'll note of that amount, 1.9 has been paid to date. 1.9 billion, sorry. What's obligated, meaning we have received an invoice but have not fully paid it, is $995 million. And open balances on those contracts is $560 million. Are there any questions? Yes.
Member Carroll?
Thank you, Jeff. To your knowledge, are any of these contracts materially behind schedule?
To my knowledge, no. You can note that a large portion of these contracts have been paid to date,
Right.
but I have not received any indication that any of them are behind schedule.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, seeing none, we thank you so much for
Thank
your
you.
work, and we know we
Have an
see you at the
excellent
next
day.
meeting with some more contracts. Appreciate it. Next up on the agenda this morning is an approval item, an update on the investment committee report to be presented by Mr. Collie.
Good morning, board members. My name is Kevin Collie. I'm the Director of Treasury and Debt for MDTA. The purpose of this is to go over the review, a quarterly review as required of MDTA's investment strategy and the associated benchmarks for the period ended December 31st, 2025, and to request the approval of a new fixed income securities dealer and to delete a no longer active trading dealer. Investment returns and portfolio composition and the request to add a dealer were discussed in greater detail during the recent Finance and Administration Committee meeting. The committee members support a continuation of the investment strategy for all accounts. A little bit more about the dealer change. Huntington Bankshares agreed to acquire the institutional fixed income sales and trading operation of Janney Montgomery Scott. The fixed income business will operate under the name Huntington Securities Inc. MDTA is requesting the addition of Huntington Securities Inc. and the deletion of the no longer active Janney Montgomery Scott. Key points regarding the portfolios. There are no changes in strategy or benchmarks that are recommended. The investments conformed to investment policy limitations. Portfolio structuring by account adhere to the board-approved strategy. Strategy should remain the same despite short-term volatility associated with the interest rate environment. Management does not attempt to time market rate changes, duration target reserves, maintain consistent structures. We use a passive approach to duration, but we remain active in relative value security selection. The chosen strategy and benchmark indices represent a reasonable and prudent compromise between long-term, multi-year return income focus for return volatility. The longer duration strategies employed in certain reserves generate higher return volatility with expected higher average annual returns over multi-year periods. The trust agreement and investment policy prescribe a match funding investment strategy for specific purpose accounts, including operating, debt service, capital/construction. Longer-term strategies are permitted by the trust agreement for certain reserves that do not have cash flow needs. The investment policy's investment objectives include longer-term total return considerations for reserves. Given that the unencumbered cash balances will be held long-term, a long-term approach is prudent and supported by the Finance and Administration Committee. The agency employs either a match-funded or total return duration target approach for certain categories of accounts. Of the $883 million portfolio at the end of December 2025, $473 million of match-funded accounts were invested in short-term securities with maturities of less than 1 year that precede or coincide with projected outflows. The remaining $410 million is managed for total return, representing long-term unrestricted reserves held in the general and M&O reserve accounts. The general account is benchmarked to a composite index of 1.5-year bullet agency indices. 1 to 5 year bullet agency indices. The investment maturities are generally staggered from 3 months to 5 years, with an effective duration target of approximately 3 years. The smaller M&O reserve, representing approximately 6% of assets under management, is benchmarked to a composite of 1 to 13-year Treasury strip indices that approximates effective duration of a laddered portfolio of 6-month to 15-year securities. The 7.5-year average maturity structure has an associated effective duration of 7 years. The strategy for the general account and M&O reserve has been unchanged for many years. The recommendation is to approve a continuation of the investment strategies and benchmarks for the current quarter And to approve the addition of Huntington Securities Inc. and the deletion of Janney Montgomery Scott. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Collie. Any questions or comments on this update, Member Von Paris?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to say this. Thank you, Kevin, for your presentation and the work that you've done and the group have done on this project, on this. MDTA leadership, the investment committee, our advisors, the finance committee, all support the strategy. And as you highlight there and the changes that you have under recommendations, meaning the approval of the addition of Huntington Securities Inc. and the deletion of Janney Montgomery Scott. So I support this, and I would like to make a motion to approve this.
Quick comment?
Quick comment. Kevin, thank you again. I think just to make sure that it's said plainly, we are adding a new dealer who is new by name but not by performance.
That is correct.
Okay, that's a
His
subtle
existing
distinction.
Team and staff have moved over there.
Okay.
So what happened was the fixed income securities division of Janney Montgomery was actually held by a third party, KKR, and they had been looking to sell that asset to a bank that was willing to house them in.
All right, no, quick question, clarification. We do have a motion, and is there a second?
Member Artinger, I'll second.
Thank you, Member Artinger. All those in favor of approving?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
All right, thank you so much, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
Good. Thank you so much. Our next update item this morning to be presented by Mr. Brown is our second quarter operating budget comparison.
Good morning. For the record, my name is Jeffrey Brown, Budget Director for the MDTA. I'm here today to provide an update of budget versus actual performance through the second quarter of fiscal 2025. As of December 31st, the budget was 44% spent compared to a target of 48%. All object codes were at or below budgeted spending levels except for Object 13. The main drivers of our performance are the seasonality of expenses, the timing of invoices, some cost pressures in IT, and some insurance costs heavily impacted the performance. Moving into the detail, salaries and wages were at budget with a 46% spend rate. Communications is below budget with a 19% spend. This is due to the state radio invoice, which has not been paid yet. When that does, that should bring this back close to budget. Travel, Object 4 is below budget with a 31% spend. Typically, there's heavier spending in the third and fourth quarters, so we don't expect any overages in this. We expect this to come back towards budget. Fuel and utilities, Object 6 is just a little bit below budget with a 41% spend rate. Object 7, motor vehicle operations and maintenance, is below budget with a 34% spend. This is driven by vehicle gas and oil, which is at a 26% spend rate. Vehicle maintenance and repairs is at a 30% spend rate, while large vehicle maintenance repair is at 39%. The last two objects, vehicle maintenance and repair and the large vehicle maintenance and repair, are typically lumpy. They come in when they come in, but we don't expect this to be above budget. Should be coming back close to budget. Contractual services, Object 8 is below budget with a 37% spend rate. Drivers are advertising with a 15% spend. Typically, the promotional activity is heavier in the third and fourth quarters. We expect this to come back to budget. Same explanation with engineers, which is at a 23% spend, but typically there are heavier activities in the third and fourth quarters. Equipment repairs and maintenance is above budget with an 88% spend. This is due to really the timing of invoices. We had a one-time rubric charges, which is our IT backup services, paid. This will come back to budget. We don't expect this to be higher than budget. Building repairs and maintenance, Object A12, is below budget with a 21% spend. Again, heavier activities typically in the third and fourth quarters. We expect this to come back to budget. Education and training is below budget at 25%. Management studies is below budget at 21%. Again, this is kind of lumpy. This comes in when studies are occurring throughout the year. Again, we don't expect this to be above, expect this to be close to budget. While security services is below budget with a 27% spend. IT services is above budget with a 76% spend. The drivers are telecom, which is well below budget with a 5% spend rate. This is due to a misbooking to this object code, or not to this object code, is charged somewhere else. This will be corrected next quarter, so this should come back to budget. Application software and maintenance is over budget with a 243% spend rate. This is due to charges for body-worn cameras. There are discussions underway whether this should be capitalized. When we built the budget, the assumption was this was a capital expense. Right now, it's not showing up that way. So if it is determined that this is not capital, this will be an exposure to the budget. System softwares and maintenance is above budget with a 180% spend rate. This is due to increase in charges from TSO. Consistent with other MDOT nodes, the costs associated with enterprise agreements are now being passed to the various nodes. So TSO is no longer carrying a portion of our enterprise agreements. Again, when we built the budget, the assumption is this was business as usual. Apparently not, so that puts us at a little bit of exposure. Outside service computers is above budget with a 71% spend. Again, this is all timing. This is due to the payment of the OpenGov software, which is our budgeting software, as well as Salesforce, which is a human resource application. This is expected to be on budget. Other contractual services is below budget with a 23% spend. This is primarily due to the Maryland State Police overhead charges being below budget. Supplies and materials, Object 9, is below budget with a 29% spend. It's driven by roadway maintenance, which is at 29%. Again, heavier activity in the third and fourth quarters. This should come back to budget. Salt was at 0%. I'm pretty sure that's not going to be true going forward. So that should be bringing us back closer to budget. Ammunition is below budget with 17%. Again, this is kind of lumpy. This comes in when the orders come in. So at this point, we expect this to be close to budget, while transponders is just really just a little bit below budget at a 37% spend. Replacement equipment, Object 10, is on budget with a 42% spend. Microcomputers is Object 1033 is above budget with a 60% spend, but that's because of an order coming through. Again, timing, this should be back on budget. Other replacement equipment is below budget at 6% spend. Again, it's the timing of orders when they come in. At this point, we expect this to be on budget. Additional equipment is below budget with a 35% spend. The main drivers is additional radios and electronic equipment. That's at a 1% spend, but there's an expected large order that will come through at this point, so that will bring us back to budget. While fixed cost Object 13 is above budget with 126% spend. There's two areas. Insurance, our Object 1302 is showing above budget. This is due to a $2.1 million charge that should have been charged to Object 1309. So when that's corrected, 1302 will be closer to budget. However, 1309 will be above budget with a 121% spend rate. That's again to primarily the higher premiums for like property and liability insurance that I think we've talked about previously. And finally, the bad debt, which we talked about, is well above budget, and that's because of the uncollectible damage expense that occurred at the Bay Bridge in 2016 that we're recognizing now. Concludes my presentation. Happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much for the detailed update. Any questions for Mr. Brown on our operating budget?
I got, so there were, I think, 3 items that were impacts to the budget. So how are we dealing with those?
Which ones are you talking about? If the insurance is one.
Insurance is one, which I know we
we've
can't do anything about.
allotted to-
The one you just mentioned on the Bay Bridge, like we're gonna have to update our budget, I guess is what I'm
Well, we'll have
asking.
to track if we think that we have per usual, if we think we're going to go above budget, we would have to do the amendment process to make sure that that's not the case.
But not today.
At this point, I would say
Okay.
we think we're covering it, so it shouldn't be an issue.
Question? Any other questions or discussion? All right, thank you for the mid-year update, Mr. Brown. We'll now get the capital update from Ms. Stump. Morning.
Good morning. I am Jennifer Stump, the Acting Capital Program Manager. Today, I am presenting the second quarter review of the fiscal year 2026 capital budget versus the actual spending as outlined in the fiscal year 26 and 31 draft CTP. This information was also presented to the MDTA Finance and Administration Committee on February 12th. As of December 31st, 2025, 28% of the fiscal year 26 $1.15 billion budget was spent as compared to the targeted spending level of 50%. Actual spending through the second quarter was $324.4 million. 32 of the 102 projects budgeted in fiscal year 2026 were within acceptable spending limits of 25 to 75%, plus or minus 25% of that 50% target. Due to normal lags in invoicing, generally 2 months, a plus or minus 25% threshold is determined to be reasonable. Actual spending through the second quarter, and to note the memo accidentally says first quarter there, but actual spending through the second quarter for 10 projects with fiscal year 2026 budgets over $10 million was $252.8 million. The 10 projects are detailed in Attachment A. That concludes the quarterly update, and please let me know if there's any questions.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Stone. Any questions? Member Carroll?
Thank you. I hope you're feeling better from the last time I saw you. Are there any projects there that are showing indications of cost overrun at this point?
At this time, the only notable project that's over budget, but it's not like a high dollar project, so it's not really endangering anything, is the I-95 Northern Transition Express toll lanes to Maryland 152.
Okay.
So the contractor completion of the final paving was behind schedule and resulted in additional CMI support costs.
Thank you. And part two of that is, and maybe this is a future answer, but is there an opportunity to perhaps use any type of predictive analytics that gets us ahead of what we could see as a potential cost overrun on any project so that we could better plan for that in a future state? I'm not saying that you have to have an answer today, but that's just something to think about.
Okay. I can discuss with Jim.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Good idea. Any other questions or discussion? All right. Thank you so much for the update. Our next update is on traffic and revenue estimates to be presented by Mr. Lon.
Hey, good morning.
Morning.
My name is Walter Lawn. I'm the Acting Director of Revenue. I'm here to give an update on the quarterly and year-to-date traffic and revenue forecast versus actuals. So the key takeaways is as of December 31st, 2025, collected revenues above forecast by $4.4 million. The main contributing factors are E-ZPass traffic and revenue being above forecast, and the biggest driver of that is at Fort McHenry Tunnel. There's also been an improvement in civil penalty fees collected by the Central Collections Unit. And these overperformance areas are offset by video toll collection being under forecast to the tune of $1.3 million. And we are expecting this to smooth out as we have the tax intercept coming in over the next 3 months from CCU. If you go to page 2, the table at the top, it shows as of December 31st, 25, the system-wide transactions totaled 81 million, and corresponding toll and administrative revenue totaled 398.7 million. This represents an increase of 1.8 million transactions, or 2.3%, compared to the same period last year. And year-to-date revenue increased by 18.5 million, or 4.9%, compared to the same period last year. And the increase in transactions and revenue was attributed to improved collection of video tolls and civil penalty fees, the completion of the I-95 ETL northbound extension, and a catch-up in processing of delayed transactions by the New York tolling agencies. For the quarter ending December 31st, 25, actual revenues above forecast by 4.4. And again, just restating, mainly due to the higher E-ZPass traffic and the improved civil penalty fee collections. If you go down to attachment C, this again, it breaks it down into a little more detail, the variance, the overage of 4.4 million. So again, it's up the E-ZPass is 4.8 million over. Pay by plates, 200,000 over forecast. Video is 1.3 under, and administrative toll revenue is over by about 800,000. That concludes my presentation. Are there any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Lon. Member Arnder?
Thank you for your presentation. Question on the video toll collection being under forecast. So my understanding is probably your thought pattern is that next time you present, that will have, that 1.3 million will be.
Yeah.
minimized?
That's the thought, because there's a lot of debt that's at CCU that's going through the tax intercept this year, and so they made an add-on to our forecast, like a one-time bump up. And when they added it on, it's like they split it out throughout the year, but in reality, we're going to receive most of it in March, April, May.
Okay, great. Thank
So,
you.
yep.
Thanks for the clarification. Any other questions? All right, thank you so much for the update. That brings us now to our legislative session update to be presented by Mr. Ryan. Morning.
Good morning, Madam Chair, board members. I'm Brad Ryan, Manager of Government Affairs, here to provide you an update on the 2026 session of the Maryland General Assembly. I'd like to brief you on a few bills that specifically impact the agency, starting off with the two MDOT departmentals that we have discussed in the past. House Bill 246 is an MDOT departmental that would allow the agency to notice the owner of a Class G vehicle or trailer when the owner of the motorized vehicle cannot be determined. A bill hearing was held before the House Environment and Transportation Committee on February 5th, where Bruce testified in person and we submitted a letter of support. The bill has a work session in the Motor Vehicle and Transportation Subcommittee later today. We worked with Maryland Motor Trucker Association and are supporting an amendment to the bill text that a trailer owner will only be sent a toll notice if the registered owner of the motor vehicle cannot be determined. Our other MDOT departmental is SB 188 and its House Cross File HB 229, which would increase the MDTA's revenue bond limit to $5 billion from the current limit of $4 billion. Bruce testified in support, and letters of support were submitted for both bills. Both bills have crossed over from their originating chambers and are awaiting further consideration in the opposite chamber well in advance of the March 23rd crossover date. Delegate Grammer has reintroduced legislation, House Bill 302, that requires the MDTA to design and relocate the entrances and exits to the new bridge over the Patapsco River to ensure that vehicles that do not cross the bridge are not required to pay a toll. A bill hearing was held on February 12th in the House Environment and Transportation Committee, where we weighed in with our letter of opposition. A few more bills that we are monitoring that were introduced after the January board meeting. Senator McCray has introduced SB 606, which requires the MDTA to report on E-ZPass discount plans and unused commuter trip charges, or UUCTs. We have met with the bill's sponsor and his staff and believe the reporting requirements and timelines to be reasonable, and have already conducted a data review of E-ZPass accounts with an active Baltimore region commuter discount plan. A bill hearing was held yesterday where we weighed in with a letter of support. Delegate Phillips has reintroduced legislation HB 587 that requires BPW approval of MDOT and MDTA capital expenditures in connection with state roads, bridges, or highways that exceed $500,000. A bill hearing was held on Tuesday in the House Government, Labor, and Elections Committee, where a letter of opposition was submitted by MDOT, highlighting the numerous complications that could result from this legislation. Delegate Jeffrey Long has introduced HB 567, legislation that would require the MVA to issue a single vehicle registration plate for all classes of vehicles. The House Environment and Transportation Committee held a hearing on February 19th, where we submitted a letter of opposition highlighting the importance of both a front and rear license plate, both from a law enforcement, public safety perspective, and from a tolling perspective. A number of other bills have been introduced that deal with front license plates, where we will be weighing in similarly. Delegate Wivel introduced HB 1200, which would exempt a registered owner from being liable for tolls if the owner can provide certain information that travel is related to the owner's cancer treatment. The bill hearing will be held later today, where a letter of information will be submitted. As I mentioned last month, there are dozens of bills that we are tracking, but wanted to provide a high-level recap of some of the bills that are specifically impacting the agency. As of this morning, there's over 2,600 bills that have been introduced. We will continue to work with MDTA staff, our MDOT counterparts, and counterparts at other agencies as bills of interest move through the General Assembly. Finally, MDTA budget hearings will be held on March 6th in the Senate Budget and Taxation's Public Safety, Transportation, and Environment Subcommittee, and on March 9th in the House Appropriations, Transportation, and Environment Subcommittee. We will be sure to keep you up to date as session progresses, and we'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Thank you so much, Brad. From Paris?
Just a quick question.
Yes, sir.
Could you go back, when you referenced the front plate not being able to be readable or whatever, and then you referenced the trailer after that. What language did you use on that? I want to make sure. I think you said, is it a leased, or did you say a rental trailer, or was it, right in your comments, right?
So we were talking about the bill on tolling trailers,
Right.
and a separate legislative effort to only require one plate for the motor vehicle, to get rid of front plates.
Right, I understand, but when you referenced the trailer, did you say just the rental trailer, or did you say leased, or did you say owned?
Oh, any trailer.
Did it say any trailer in your comments?
Give me just one moment.
I just wanted-
It should have.
Yeah,
It did say any?
any trailer.
Okay, good.
Yeah, yes, sir. Sorry, I apologize.
I just wanted to confirm that.
Understood.
Okay.
My apologies.
No, it's not. I just want to confirm. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for the question. Any other questions for Brad? All right, thanks for all you're doing. Let's get back to Annapolis.
Good job.
All right, thanks so much. That brings us to our Executive Director's Report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just wanted to start out, our Secretary is still on the phone, Acting Secretary. Just wanted to offer our virtual welcome. Hopefully next month we get to see our Point Breeze campus here in the lovely area that sits right between our harbor crossings. So I'd like to say to everybody, our employees, really do feel the traffic related to the Key Bridge, being right here between the bridge and the tunnels, overlooking the Cedar Marine Terminal, so a good connection to the port there. But I want to welcome the Secretary. I think we're fortunate to have someone with such a broad and extensive experience in transportation, and has served us well. Had opportunity to brief the Secretary on several issues related to the MDTA so far, and I think you'll enjoy working with her as much as I have. So just wanted to offer that welcome. And my microphone is not on, so Chris was about to jump on top, or Eric was, so apologies for that. Hopefully I boomed enough that it was heard on other microphones. But in addition, I'd also like to welcome our new CFO today. So Greg Brown is sitting in the audience over there. Wave your hand, Greg. Has been introduced to the committees, but Greg brings more than 2 decades of executive leadership and experience across both federal and state government, including many senior executive service appointments. He is returning to the MDTA. So Greg has previously served in the Department of Commerce and the U.S. Department of Transportation, but he was also a CAO here at times. And like many other longtime MDOT employees, both former and current, he is also a former legislative staffer in the Maryland General Assembly, where I first met Greg decades ago. But he's a proud graduate of Morgan State University and holds degrees in economics, both undergraduate and graduate. And he brings a lot of strategic insight, operational experience, and a leadership style that's really grounded in accessibility and approachability. Hopefully you'll get to know Greg in the near term here. Just a comment on some of the budget items and what we talked about at the January meeting with the extensive weather that we've had recently with two storms. Richard and his operations crew have been very hard at work over these past couple storms. That first storm in January, we had more than 365 employees deployed in that, and we used about 16,000 staff hours just responding to that storm. 7,000 tons of salt were used. So that salt budget is definitely going to be going up since Jeff's most recent update there. We had a number of vehicle assists, about 250 vehicle assists during that time period, just from our VRTs. The police were also busy during that storm, so thank you to the men and women of the police force as well for all the service that they do during these events, because I watched several on the cameras out there, so you're having to be on the side of the road or in the middle of the road. It's as you're helping motorists in that difficult situation. The last weekend, we used about half the amount of salt, and that had extensive stuff up north that didn't quite affect the other facilities, and we had about 90 vehicles assisted in that, again, just from the operations standpoint. But hopefully we will be treated a little bit better moving forward in the remainder of this winter period. Also taking place in February, fortunately not impacted by the storms, because that was a concern, were our Bay Crossing study hearings that took place. We had one virtual hearing and two in-person hearings to talk about the recommendations that we had for preferred alternative. That's alternative C for the Bay Crossing. We had an open house format for those and had staff available to answer questions. It's largely very well received by the public because of the information they can get, and that is right before the public in these cases had an opportunity to speak for the record. They had a number of opportunities to go on record. One was at these events. We heard 11 people testifying on the 9th. With 246 people attending at the event on the 9th in Anne Arundel County. We had 98 attendees and 15 people testifying, as we also were covered by various members of the press and representatives of different elected offices too. So in Queen Anne's, we had that on February 12th, 105 attendees there, 15 people testifying, and several of the Queen Anne's County Commissioners were able to attend that event and even offer public comment at that event. So the draft DEIS comment period does run through January 23rd, so we're still accepting written comments on that. We have, as of the 18th, received 171 written comments on that, and I'd really like to thank the planning office within MDTA for hosting that and really getting that information out there and getting the input on such a significant project for the MDTA in the state of Maryland. The comment period runs through, March 23rd. Thank you.
Just want to make sure we were paying attention. I get it.
Oh, runs from, it's my mistake. The information was correct, it's my mistake. From the 23rd to the 9th. My speed was my enemy. So, just a test, thank you. You passed, I failed. Looking ahead, we do have informational open houses on March 3rd for Curtis Creek Drawbridge Rehab Project and Resiliency Project. That's going to be at the Solly Elementary School in Glen Burnie from 5 to 7 p.m. That construction on the project is going to happen this spring, and it's part of our system preservation program. It's necessary to continue the maintenance of the two bridges that carry the inner and outer loop over I-695 Curtis Creek. So just another example of the significant investment that we have in that 695 or FSK facility outside of just the bridge structure. That project involves cleaning and painting operations of steel components and the removal installation of the warning gates and removal and replacement of some lower level lights and traffic signals. So that concludes my remarks, and I'm happy to take any questions that you may have.
Thank you so much, Mr. Executive Director. Any questions on the update? All right. Seeing no questions, we thank you for the update. We thank everyone for their time this morning. At this point, the agenda is complete. Is there a motion to adjourn this morning's meeting?
So moved. Member Cox.
Is there a second?
Second, Member Von Paris.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We stand adjourned at
Aye.
9:47. All right, we've got everyone. Thanks so much.